Welcome to Catholic Plus, where we are finding faith in fun. Today, we are exploring the first episode of the new Book of Boba Fett series. Join me, my fellow faithful fans, as we mine entertainment for the treasures of our Catholic faith and share them for the good of souls. In this opening scene, Boba looks to me like an incorruptible saint, seen from the side, like Saint Pius of Pietrelcina, perhaps better known as Padre Pio. This shot reminds me of Wolverine, which leads into the flashback of Boba as a boy, when his father was killed on Geonosis by Mace Windu. This gives me the impression that Boba may be driven at this point by negative emotions, like hate for the Jedi, fear, being orphaned, and the like, somewhat like Wolverine from X-Men. However, as we come to find, that may be too rash a judgment. This whole thing sets me up to wonder if Boba will be a virtuous man in this series, worthy of imitation and a real hero, or a scoundrel like Jabba the Hutt, or maybe even a blend of the two with some very admirable qualities like Han Solo. As we get a look at Boba in the belly of the Sarlacc, this segment gives me a light feeling of resurrection, as if he's in the tomb, written off by everyone at the surface, yet he fights back and conquers death in the Sarlacc. This emerging from the sand scene looks awesome and also ties to the resurrection imagery. As the Jawas strip off his armor, I am reminded of the Passion events of Jesus being stripped of his garments and humbled through that process. It also has baptismal imagery of Boba transitioning from one way of life to the next in this series. The experience of being captured and forced to walk by the Tuscans further echoes the carrying of the cross from the Passion events. This includes Boba's numerous falls and the need to be dragged to finish the journey, like Jesus accepting help from Simon of Cyrene carrying his cross. As Boba arrives at the Tuscan camp, it sure looks a lot like Egypt to me with the pyramid-shaped tents. This resonates strongly with Joseph of the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob line. This would be Israel, Jacob's son, Joseph. How he is taken as a slave into Egypt, and eventually he rises in prominence because of his ability to interpret dreams. And I'm wondering if that's going to have some connection with Boba Fett here, if he is going to rise in prominence amongst the Tuscans, just like Joseph did in Egypt. Does Boba being tied to this stump with scars all over his body not reflect some scourging at the pillar imagery to you too? It seems Boba is going through his own passion experience here. He's even beaten while tied to this thing. Okay, wait a minute. Is this Pharaoh, Pilate, or Herod? You be the judge. And as night falls, we have Boba escaping, but when attacked by the young Tuscan, Boba takes his stick, and here we go. He has mercy on the boy who beat him senselessly just hours earlier. That's a good sign from the series to come that Boba's character will at least be somewhat worthy of imitation. Now, while accepting tribute from local powers, Boba entertains the majordomo of the mayor of Mos Espa, who not only fails to bring tribute from the mayor, but even goes so far as to ask Boba for tribute to be paid to the mayor. Fennec Shand is not going to tolerate this, and she says such insolence to Jabba would have been met with death, yet Boba chooses to allow him to live. This is a strong indicator of how Boba intends to rule on Tatooine in comparison to the Hutts. These Gamorreans are an interesting topic. So, they formerly served Jabba and then Bib Fortuna, and they didn't surrender when captured, okay? Boba recognizes their loyalty and asks for their loyalty to him as well. Even these wild boar-looking beings have the honor of loyalty, which is somewhat lacking in today's world. And I wonder, would I have such loyalty to Jesus Christ and his church despite capture, imprisonment, the possibility and threat of death, like these Gamorreans have right here in front of Boba Fett? Would you? When the droid suggests that they be tortured, and this is something that Jabba would do, this is a way to command respect, Fett says, "I do not torture," despite the fact that this could be taken as a weakness as the new daimyo. They pledge themselves to Fett hereafter, despite Fennec Shand's warning that this is a bad idea. If you like this analysis and agree, be sure to click that like button. And if you'd like more Finding Faith and Fun videos from Catholic Plus, click the subscribe button and tap the bell icon to join our Catholic Plus team. We move on to the city, where Fennec tells Boba he should have let them carry him in on a litter as a sign of power to the people of Mos Espa. Yet he declines and chooses to walk more humbly. There's definitely virtue here worthy of imitation. Despite power, he's showing he's a new kind of leader. Maybe something like St. Louis of France, who, while he's the king of the entire country, was still willing to go and walk among the people. And here we come to my favorite line from this episode. Boba explains his new approach when he says, "Jabba ruled with fear, I intend to rule with respect." This is a new era for Mos Espa, and it gives me hope again that we'll see some of the best of Boba Fett's character for this series, something that can inspire us to virtue. As he says this, he falls under attack and cannot seem to find a way to break through the defenses of their attackers. However, to the rescue from the outside come the Gamorrean guards. Their loyalty and Fett's decency is beginning to pay off, and this whole fight scene reminds me of how we sometimes get trapped in situations that we can't escape on our own, and we need help from our family and our friends from the outside. It teaches us that this life is not all about being independent and isolated, that we need family and friends and we need help from others. And this would include the saints if we're in a trial of temptation or spiritual struggle, that the angels and saints can also come to our rescue. As the fight ends, Fett is wounded and must be taken back to the Bacta tank, which allows the flashback to resume. So after being forced to dig for water while desperately thirsty and then taunted by the young lone Tusken, who continues to treat him cruelly, Boba still chooses to respect the lad and will eventually choose an even higher road. Soon they find themselves attacked by this underworld-looking sand beast, and the young Tusken comes to Boba's aid. The beast, now turning its attention to the lad, allows Boba the opportunity he needs to escape, and that he has been planning with the Rodian just moments earlier. Yet, Boba comes to the boy's rescue, even slaying the beast. This seems to bring the Passion events to an end, like Christ who descended to the dead and winning his full victory returns to earth, fully resurrected. Like Jesus, Boba uses the instrument of his torture and captivity, the chains, like the cross, to win a great victory and a new life. As they return to the Tusken village, the story is shared and Boba walks in no longer in chains at the control of the boy, but carrying his chains and lauded by the boy having saved him, as if the boy were one of the Roman soldiers who engaged in the Passion, but whose salvation was won by that same experience. Recognizing Boba's victory and saving of the boy, the village chief finally offers Fett the water he's desired. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for the next episode and looking for connections to our faith with you. What did you think of this analysis, and did I miss anything? Comment below so that we can share more spiritual insights together. If you're proud to be Catholic and a fan of Star Wars, click the share button below to help evangelize with us. Special thanks to all Catholic Plus patrons. To see the thank you gifts you can receive by supporting Catholic Plus, like my book on Star Wars and Catholicism, check out our Patreon page in the description below. And remember, the Lord will be with you always.